What's up, everybody? Tommy Har with The Real Side of Real Estate. Today, I want to answer a question for you that I get all the time on social media is if you have so much money, why do you raise capital for all of your projects? And I'm going to give you a bunch of answers and I'm going to be writing on the board, so stick with me. This is going to be a fun video and you're going to learn a lot. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of why and some of the numbers behind it, I want to give you a little bit of our business model. So for our business, we wholesale, we flip, and we do rental properties. For this stuff we're going to be talking about, it's buying properties at a discount, fixing them up, and either selling them or refinancing them. So we raise what's called private money or hard money for all of our deals. So let's assume we get a property for $200,000 in contract. It needs $50,000 worth of work, so we have to pay cash $200,000 and then another $50,000 of renovation, and then we'll go and sell that for $350, $400, $500, whatever the ARV is. But that requires me and my business to come up with $250,000. Now, could you go to a bank, qualify for a loan, and go that route? The answer is yes, but not typically. We're doing multiple of these a month, and it takes 30 days typically to get a traditional mortgage. And a lot of the times these traditional mortgages will not lend on the type of properties we're buying because they need so much work construction-wise. So what happens if somebody comes to us today and says, Tom, I have an amazing deal, the same scenario I just laid out, 200 grand purchase price, can you close in 7 days, 14 days, 20 days? You can't do that when you go to a traditional bank. So what do? We go and raise capital from somebody else. Or, as people ask on the internet, why do you not use your own money if you have so much money? Well, the first answer is I never talk about having that much money. Let's assume that I have $500,000 liquid in a bank account. I can only do 2 of those deals we just talked about at any given time. And then I'm out of cash. Then I have no money to run my business. I have no reserves. I have no money to live my life. So a lot of you get into this business thinking that you want financial freedom and you want to have this money in your bank account. But if you use your own cash for all of your projects, you're not going to ever have any money. You're always going to be chasing your tail. So that's one of the things I learned early on is always use other people's money because you want to use the money that you make to not take it into the next property, but put it into your bank account and live a life that's worth living. Number 2 is going to be able to scale a business. So in that scenario I just told you, if we get 2 properties that we have to put 500 grand of cash in, that's only 2 properties. I want to flip 10 to 15 houses at a time. That's a lot of capital that you need to outlay. And I don't have that much capital most times. So we give the opportunity to a private money lender or hard money lender to lend on the property, and then we fix it up and they make a return on their investment. So what I'm going to do here on the board is I'm going to show you how much more money you can make by raising capital versus your own money. So let's get to it. So let's take the same assumption we just talked about. I have $500,000 liquid in my bank account and I'm like, okay, I want to go out and buy properties. So in my market, you buy a house for $200K. Let's call it off market. We buy it from a wholesaler. So purchase price, reno, is $50K, and your ARV after repair value is let's call it $350K. So at the end of the day, working through all of this, and I'll pull my calculator up and this will go up on your screen too. Let's say we can do 2 of these deals. So times 2. So 200 grand, so $350,000. $350,000 times 0.94. I'm going to go through a calculation here. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, make sure you go to my other videos so you can see what I'm talking about. Times 0.94, so that's our realtor cost and closing cost, $329, minus $50,000, minus $200,000, and then we'll say another $5,000 for closing cost. So that right there is a profit margin of $74,000 times 2. So at 2 at a time, you can make $148,000. And let's say you can do if you're using all your cash, you got to wait till your money comes back. So let's say it takes 6 months to do both of those. So you can do that twice a year. So 2 times a year. So equals, what would that be? You can make $300,000 using your own capital. Now that's great money. That's not anything to poo-poo, but let's assume that I use other people's money and I scale it up to doing 5 rehabs at a time, assuming the same stuff. So I'm not using any of my own cash here. So $250,000 or $200,000 purchase price, reno of $50,000, and our ARV, or what it's gonna be worth, is $350,000. So we got my man Basil here, up for adoption for the Har family. So let's assume that it takes 6 months to do this project. All right, go ahead, buddy, go run around. Let's say 6 months, just like the other one, but we raise this purchase and rehab at 12% interest at 6 months. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna calculate private money costs. So what that means is we get a loan amount of $250,000 from a private money lender. $250,000, let me just write this out so you guys can understand what I'm saying. $250,000 times 0.12, which is my interest for the year, times 0.12 equals $30,000. So that, if I hold that property for the entire year, I pay that lender $30,000. I'm gonna divide that by 365 days or 12 months, whatever it is, but we pay on a daily basis, divided by 12, or then times 180 days, which is half a year, is $15,000. So $15,000 of interest to my private money lender. So instead of making $74,000 up here on the first one using my own cash, I now make $74,000 minus $15,000, which is right about, what would that be? $59,000? $59,000. So instead of making 74, you make 59, but once again, you still have that $500,000 in your bank account. You can go on vacation, you can do whatever you want, but this now allows you to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 4, 5, however many you want to do at a time without constraint. So you can use that money. So let's say now, instead of doing 2 at a time because you were constrained using your own capital in the top here, let's say you want to scale this up to 4 at a time. So 4 at a time, you do 8 of them a year. So 59,000 times 8 equals 59,000 times 8. That's $472,000. And you still have your $500,000 in your bank account. So instead of leveraging your own capital and getting stuck and making $300,000 a year, which is amazing, but you're chasing your money to go use it again, you can save that money, go raise it, and make over $170,000 more. Now, this is obviously hypothetical, but this is why we're out raising money from other people all the time, is because we're just factoring this into our deal. So instead of using our own capital, we're doing this, and this also allows you to have that $500,000 in your bank account. So if this $59,000 profit margin on the one of the 8 that we just talked about turns into a negative 40, we just lost 40 grand on one of our deals last week. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. We have money in our bank account to bring it out and pay it off. So you want to have money for a rainy day, you want to have money for your family, you want to have money for your lifestyle, because like you probably watching this video, I didn't get into real estate to be broke all the time. And that's where I see a lot of real estate investors across the country, because I've been there before, is you get cash poor because you have all your money in these deals. You know you're making cash, but you're chasing your tail because you're just putting it into the next property. So make sure you're learning how to do this. And it's not that hard to raise capital. And this is exactly why I'm always raising money from people, and we're just baking it into our numbers. So instead of making 75,000, we'll make 59, less profit, but we get to do more of them at a time. So if you're sitting on a lot of cash and you don't want to do a ton a year, maybe use your own money. But hopefully this gives you a lot of insight on why we're doing it this way. So if you like videos like this and you want me to do more stuff on the Vibe board, which I think we're going to be doing here soon, make sure you hit that like button, you subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be putting a lot of free content out here that you will not see from anybody else across the country. So if you like the real side of real estate, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you on the next video.